Yeah, so I'd say about April 7th. About April 7th. The owner of the ranch called me and said, hey, and he never calls me. I call him, because I sell metal for him and other stuff. I call him, hey, meet someone. They're coming to pick up, a bunch of steel or telephone poles. So for him to call me is odd. He calls me and he says, hey, I just took your dad to the hospital. I admitted him to Sutter Hospital in Davis. She's been to before. And he basically they said that he had a tumor on his pancreas and he's pronounced diabetic and with the tumor. So that all just fell out of the sky. So I was like, all right, I'll be there in a couple days. So came through like 3 days later. They transferred him to another hospital, Roseville. They did not treat him good, and that's something that I'm gonna address. And I'm gonna say this because the nurses came to me personally and pulled me to the side and said, this is off the record. Your dad can stay here as long as he needs to. He can dispute. They were just basically like, because of his insurance or the lack thereof, they were like, well, because I spoke with one of the doctors on the phone. I was still in Vegas. She's like, oh yeah, he's doing great. We're gonna do outpatient, da da da. And I talked to my dad 3 days in a row. Third day, he said, Cam, they're messing with me. Like, they're trying to just throw me out. And he got dropped off there. Like, he got brought there by somebody. There was no exit strategy for the release. And two of the nurses, they told him before I got there, they said, you can dispute the release. I did the paperwork when I got there. I called the number when I got there. And the two ladies said this was not right, the way that they were. And she said, off the record, don't talk to anyone from Medicare. So when we were on hold, and I was like, we'll just call you back. Click, never called back. But she said, I'm telling you this off the record. They work for the same Medicare. The lady you're talking to is still Medicare, and they're gonna just, less is more. We went through that, and then I got to deal with the doctor. My dad flipped out on him. So he got here and he's been good. They redid the stent. They said that the stent from California, from Roseville Hospital, was plastic, so they thought it was infected. And so that's why they replaced it yesterday with a metal one. They said everything's, kidneys are doing great. The diabetes shit, the blood sugars, his levels are down. Everything's great. It's just that fucking tumor.
Yeah, but you're right. People smell or see. Damn it! Why can't I have that?
After you, ladies.
Thank you.
Enjoy that Chick-fil-A. Check this out. Can you go into the story with Ed Berry?
No, not initially. I gotta do this a certain way, or it's not gonna make sense. I can't change it. I can break it up, but I wanna do it from the beginning of time, so you get a general.
Hey. Hey, Dad. Hey, Joe. What do you know? We're here.
Tell me when you're ready, Josh.
Oh, we're ready. We're already rolling.
We're live.
Okay, I need to be, do you want to put the camera there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm talking to the wall, Kevin.
Oh, I can move over here. Hold on,
This
let
way,
me.
Because I can't do it right. Let me introduce myself. Tell me when.
Right now.
Hello. My name is Joseph. I'm what you call a garage historian. My real name in Spanish is Jose Geraldo Martinez Gonzalez Vibois. In English, it's Joseph Harry Wilbert. Big difference in sound and so forth. I grew up in San Francisco. I lived out near the beach. We built a house right off the beach on 47th Avenue back in 1963. It was a very modern house made of all redwood. It was really beautiful. I was born in Moffat Hospital when it was brand new in 1951. My son Cameron was born there in 1983. My daughter was born there in 1975 in the same room on the 10th floor at Moffat Hospital, UC Hospital in San Francisco. So we go back to the beginning of time. So I'm going to reference the Bible as a reference book, not really as an inspired book, because it has been tampered with. And I'm going to quote different aspects of history. So let me start with that. 6 years ago, the greatest Hebrew scholar in the world, who lives in Germany, met with the Vatican, explained to the Pope that someone has tampered with the Bible, especially so that no one could understand the entire Bible. And they changed Genesis 1:1, which says, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. That's a complete mistranslation, and it's done on purpose, so you cannot understand history and time in the Bible. He said, here's what it should say. The Father of the beginnings created the gods, the heavens, and the earth. That tells you that the one who did everything, he calls himself the Father. His sons that he created are called the gods. And they created the earth. They did all the work. And he gave them the responsibility to be good, to rule the earth in your different nations, and to not screw it up. Okay. Halfway through the Bible of time, I think it was King David wrote one of the Psalms that says, it came to be the day when the true God met with all the others and made pronouncement. And he said to them, I made you gods, but you have not carried out your responsibility. You have not taken care of the poor, the weak, the motherless, fatherless child. You've not done anything to do for those who need it, and you are not going to live. Like princes, you will die. So here's what we have. The Father of the universe, first, before he even worked on the universe, creates the gods, gives them the responsibility to do it right, And they do to a point. Then he sends them to the earth, where they totally screw it up. Some of them get drunk with power. Some of them war to watch people die. They're experimenting with life. And they trust that he's not going to do nothing. Let us get by with a lot. Well, finally he does. But it's not finished. They're not dead. He's letting them straighten it out. And that's what's going on the earth now. You have other researchers looking at the pyramids and all that. That's good. It's interesting. It's not what you need to know to judge history in the world, where we're going and who we are. And so, he has a fix-it program. It's been in motion for thousands of years. It's called the Winged Sun. The name of the planet is Nibiru. This is known by others, but it's kept away because its purpose is to come past the earth, make a pole change so everything gets destroyed. And then it goes back around for 3,600 years. Can't stop it. They can't stop it. And the work of the gods that are on the earth gets destroyed. But they get an opportunity to change it. One after the other after the other. Now what they've been doing, what they're supposed to do, is learn from the mistakes they made. Bad judgment, making big cities that are going to fall apart. They're no good. They don't last. Because Nibiru is going to come around and knock it out. Now Nibiru was an inhabited planet. And it still is. It was ruined by a warfare between two gods. And this part of the universe is still being affected by them. You have one god named Allah, which you've heard of, in the family of Lu. Allah Lu. Okay? He was ruling Nibiru for a long time. I don't know the exact years. The way they settle things on Nibiru, at that time, they didn't fight. They wrestled, like Greco-Roman wrestling, which is a very difficult thing to do. A boxer, if he gets in the ring with the Greco-Roman wrestler, he's gonna lose. You cannot win. I've watched it. I watched the boxer strike a guy several times, thinking he's getting somewhere. And the guy takes the knife, grabs his foot, spins him upside down, ties him in a knot. So they wrestled. The one that he wrestled was Anu. Anu is another ruler of Nibiru. Anu won. Allah lost. They put Allah on his own ship, his own men, sent him out into space, said go to the earth. At that time it was undeveloped and it was just nature. Okay, no, but there were people in Africa that were not people. There were all over the earth. There was Sasquatch came from. If you want to understand Sasquatch, you're going to have to listen to a man who was assassinated, Lloyd Pye.
Lloyd Pye.
Watch his last videos. They're perfectly done, make sense, because he uses historical accounts no one will touch. And this is a problem. Anyway, let me go back, finish that. Lloyd Pye's research matches up with Native American research. It matches up with research all over the world that's gone on for thousands of years. It's human, but it's not complete.
It's a humanoid.
It doesn't have all the senses we do, but they're extremely powerful. And one thing they have, and why you can't find them easily, they possess the power of telepathy. And we're sure about that, and Lloyd Pye talks about it, and there's several Native Americans talk about it, but they're not going to tell anybody else.
Yeah.
They're not going to tell, especially white people, because they'll take it and make money out of it, like they've done gaming. Gaming was done on purpose to whiten the American Indian, whiten their skin, make them white cultured, and then white people can get the money. It's a plan, and I know all about it. Anyway, so Lloyd Pye talks about in Russia, a female Sasquatch married a Russian. He married her. They were not overly intelligent, but they were not stupid either. They had more natural sense than a person walking down the street, because they knew everything about nature. They lived in it for centuries. Okay, that's what was here on the earth. When Alalu got here, he was the one that discovered gold in the Gulf of Aqaba, right up against Iraq, which is Eden, in the old area of Eden. Okay, he discovered gold, but it was not regular gold, which is good for some things. He found monoatomic gold, which is what they've been looking for, because it has supernatural powers. It can fix anything. It can change time. You can time travel with it. It has 1 atom of gold and 3 of inert, I forget what it is. And that's what he found, and he brought it back to Nibiru to save the planet. And he gave it to the Nibirians, and then he went to Mars, and he died on Mars. He was an outcast because he basically lost the wrestling match. So anyway, he was in competition with Anu, and he lost. He died on Mars. Some say the face on Mars is his. If you ever see the movie Trip to Mars?
Mission to Mars.
Mission to Mars.
When they have
It's
the
not
face.
about that, but it's a good thing to see that helps you understand it. That's how this started, how our planet got civilized. He came and he left. He left the information with Anu. Anu told 2 of his sons, Enki and Enlil, get in a ship, go see if this is true. They come down here, and Enki, he loves sailing. He makes a boat, and he sails in the Gulf of Aqaba. And he just kind of relaxes. He's got a crew of 50 men. And they're working, digging up gold, and they find it. And it's monoatomic gold. He was right. Now they can save the planet of Nibiru if they use it right. Because Nibiru was poisoned, whatever they did. So Anu, his sons, bring it back, and Anu says, we've got to start shipping it as much as we can get from the Gulf of Aqaba to Nibiru. So they set up stations, okay, transfer stations, which is satellites, where the gold is transferred. It finally gets there. That was done for a long time. a 1,000 years. So they live a long time, by the way. They don't die. So they start, what they do is they start complaining because they have wives and children. Then they finally say, look, we're not doing this. And they strike. And Enki meets with them. And he feels that they're right. So he goes back, they set this negotiation, and they give them rights to have families here on the earth. They give them rights to do a lot of things. And some of them actually go home. But then some of them, at the influence of the gods that are already judged as dead, and we're going to go down here and we're going to start our own thing. Of course, the gods are taking the lead in this. The gods that have been around a long time. We're not talking about the true Father. These are all lesser gods, thousands of them. That's why the earth has gods everywhere. So they go right to what is now Baalbek in Lebanon.
Lebanon, Baalbek.
And they build Baalbek. And the gods that God said, you're not going to live, they're still alive. He's giving them a long, none of the judgments are immediate. He tells them the eventuality. So what he did was let them do what they wanted. You do what you want. You either get judged or you do better. So they start telling the people, build us temples, and that's where you come to learn about us. We're not going to walk around in your area because we're the gods. So they build temples. Baalbek is one, and there's others. And each god is allowed to have his own temple. He helps people. The people may be sick, so they go to the temple at night and sleep there and pray, and the next day they're better. So even the gods that rebelled are still trying to change their nature and do it right. And that was a good idea. So, but the same problems developed, which is the gods had personal problems with each other. Some, I don't like that guy. So what does he do? Starts a war. You get your army, we'll get our army, we'll see who's the best. And that part starts the beginning of these huge wars between the gods, who's usually out there in a chariot.
Yeah.
The right to be worshipped by your people is not wrong. What's wrong is that you're supposed to act like a helper, not a destroyer. You're supposed to use them right. And they're well aware that these are lesser gods to the Father. They're being well aware of that. We have a world now that starts the habit of going to war with each other and dividing up whatever they conquer. Now, in time, Nibiru will always change that because it comes around every 3,600 years and it changes the position of the pole. The pole is the center of the earth. So that is what happens. So that's a safety factor. They're not allowed to go too far. So they for 3,600 years, they've got a monopoly on the world. Well, it changes overnight because the pole shift changes everything. Summer becomes winter, winter becomes summer, the tropics become frozen. This all takes time to regenerate. The buildings fall and crumble into the earth. Whatever they did to prove how powerful they are fails. And the reason why is their motive to begin with was to show power, the power they have. See, and they really don't have power. And they were supposed to work with nature, not try to destroy it. So they have done everything now. And we're facing a pole shift. All of these scientists know this. The earth is dying right now. It's going through a death phase. It's not going to let that happen. The earth was made to revive violently until it gets peace, until it gets its control back. And now we're facing that. The time has come all the way around, and the Nibiru swings around, and that sets it off. And we're expecting it now. Now, if you've read the Bible, now the Bible's a good reference book. There are other books, several other books that are really good to read about the other religions of the earth. They're good because they contain a different view about the same subject, a view from another God and his people. So anyway, what we have now is a continuing replay of history. And God's, the Father, I'll call him, is allowing it to go on and on and on. Now, it may go on for thousands of more years. And what they're trying to do is rehabilitate the lesser gods to change their ways so they don't have to die. That judgment is still not carried out, so they could change. But what's happened is they have developed two sides called the Sons of Light and the Brotherhood of Darkness. Now, what that's about is the color of light. Light, white light, is full spectrum. You cannot hide in white light. In black light, you can hide. It brightens a few colors and it hides the rest. But this has been taken wrong, especially by white people. They believe, oh, that means us. We're white, we're good. They're black and they're bad. That has developed into a program of world control that's going to stop. Now, talk about that for a bit. White supremacism doesn't have to be Nazi style to be bad. The idea itself carries a power of non-cooperation, of control of everything, and ignoring everything of the needs of others. If they're dark, it starts to segregate people. The new generation knows nothing about the truth. So we're going to hang with this for a minute. Okay. The brotherhoods have been in existence for thousands of years. They are not new. Today, the most powerful brotherhood on earth is a group called the Masons. Okay? And you cannot be a president, you cannot be a chancellor, a ruler of England, you cannot be a president in France unless you're a Mason. And it's been that way from the beginning. There are no presidents, there are no rulers in these three countries, and others that are not Masons. Now, there were 3 people in America that were not literal Masons. They never took the vows. And the reason why is they lived in a time where people found out. So they wanted to be able to say, I'm not a Mason. But they really were. They just didn't take the vows. They already made the agreements. That's happened 3 times out of, I don't know how many presidents. All of them. So we're in a situation now where the white Masons rule. They allow some black Masons and others to become Masons, but they literally have no power. And they don't, you wouldn't know. Obama's a good example. He was not allowed to be the president unless he took his vows for the 33rd degree, which he did. But Obama has secrets that he didn't want people to know. And we all know about that. Okay. So what he did was he agreed to the other Masons who were whites to carry out a plan they had, which was to increase the war in the Middle East and get it done, finish it. He did not want to do it, but that was part of his agreement, and he knew that. So he was able to do what they said and convince people that he was free to do what he wanted. But he can't talk about it. And I get my sources from people who know them. I don't just figure this isn't true. There are things that no one knows, that few people know.
Keeps me from getting in trouble, Josh. My fucked up sense of humor. That's what keeps me from getting in trouble. Hey, how you looking? Hey, Aunt.
Did you see something?
I haven't seen her yet.
Yeah. She showed up. I'm glad she did.
Yeah, I know. That was a surprise.
Big surprise.
Well, I knew. I just
So
didn't.
happy
I
to
just
see
didn't tell you.
Yeah.
I wanted you to get surprised. Surprise! They got here last night.
We call Joe Einstein because he looks like Albert Einstein.
He does. You
We'll
look,
tell
you look
him-
more like Einstein now than you ever did, to
That's
be
right.
honest.
There's a reason why. Einstein looks like me.
Right?
No, he was first. I'm sorry. You got to go next.
We don't know that yet.
Well,
Time machine, right?
Right.
The Wayback Machine.
Yeah, the way back.
It's on our list.
okay.
Walking good, Dad.
Yeah, I know.
How you like that shirt?
I love it.
You love it? Just keep going. Oh! So, Dad, do you remember that fight with Roberto Duran? And, we're going this way.
I have lived in San Francisco. Yes.
Mayo Munoz! Go with God.
Yep.
Alright. We'll switch hands.
Oh, it feels good to be outside. Yes, please do that.
You want to do that? You got the chair.
No, it's in a ditch.
Okay.
Easy cute.
I'll
I
get
can't do any tippiness.
Okay.
right here.
Has 5 world champions from my neighborhood.
Right, okay.
First,
Sugar Ray Seals.
Sugar Ray Seals. I was telling Cam, I said, if your name is Ray and you fight, you got to be some kind of sugar.
That's right, yeah, Sugar Ray
It
something.
started with Sugar Ray Robinson,
Right,
then it
you're
went
right.
to Sugar Ray Seals, then it went to Sugar Ray Leonard.
Right, you're right.
Anyway, he gold medal winner, in
Right.
the Olympics. Came back, turned pro, fought Hagler the first time, and I believe it may have been a draw. But the second fight was not a draw.
Hagler wised up.
Hagler came and ate him up.
Yeah. Well, Hagler's known. Hagler was my favorite fighter as long as he was fighting. And here's why. He wasn't a big mouth.
Nope.
He did not get out there. He said, well, they asked him, how come you don't say all that? He said, I'm just going to beat their ass real good. That's all. That's all I want to do. And he was good at it. And you know, here's the thing.
He'd come right at you too. He
Right,
wasn't
no,
dancing
he was
around.
just, his head would be
He'd
down a
come
little.
right for you.
Right down. He would just keep it. He never stopped.
And he could take a punch too.
But he never, here's the thing, he didn't back up.
No, he's coming right at
He
you.
was like a steam shovel going forward. You
It
know?
worked for him.
Yeah, and you know what? Marvelous Marvin Hagler ended his life in Europe, in Italy. I don't know what happened, but I guess he had a stroke.
I believe that's true.
Right, and he died in his sleep, which is the best way to go.
Let me. I want to interject that.
Go ahead.
Tell everybody about the time that Grandpa took you to see Cassius Clay.
Oh, yeah.
Tell them that, because guys don't even have this story.
Okay.
Before he was Muhammad Ali.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Tell
before he
him,
was
man.
Muhammad Ali, this is back in the early 60s, 62, 63. Before he became a Muslim, he did that in prison. And when he got out of prison, he was a Muslim. And he really tried to live by it. People respected him for that as long as he tried to live by it. They really respected him.
He
But,
didn't eat pork, but he did screw women on the side.
well, whatever that, I'm not going to get into that.
I know, I'm just, I mean.
Okay, but here's the
Joe.
thing. He boxed this guy. I think it was a British man that was tall and slender like him. And it was a good fight, okay? And the Brit was really good, which they usually are. You know, they come over here and they can box. But Muhammad Ali figured him out. And bing, bang, bong, that's how it goes.
Excuse me.
He
I'm
finds,
trying to think of the British fighter that he fought in.
this was the early 60s.
Yeah.
He had not
it's
got
right
out.
on the tip of my tongue.
He had not got arrested yet for avoiding the
No,
draft.
that was in '67.
Right. So he was young and he had the mouth. You know,
The Louisville lip.
yeah, right. I'm the king. He was doing all that, which excited the crowds.
He was one of the first people that manifested
Right. He
right
really.
out in front of everybody.
Right. And I saw all this as a kid, and my dad loved boxing. Was the only thing that he really loved besides his work. He worked for the city of San Francisco. He was one of 8 men who were the highest paid workers in the country. They were
Nice.
civil service workers. San Francisco paid higher than anybody, and he was a steam fitter. He worked with heat, and that's why pay was high. And he got burned so bad, spent a year in the hospital.
Wow.
Because
pipe
some-
come loose or something.
There's a prep guy who opens up all the lines and cleans them up before you work on them.
Okay.
Well, the guy didn't show up, and my dad didn't know it. The pipe was full of hot water, boiling water, and it broke. When the nipple on that line broke, and it went right down his thing and boiled him. And he passed out, and they pulled the coveralls off. His skin came off with it.
Yeah.
He spent a year in the hospital going through grafts, learning how to walk again. And, you know, there's a whole process.
Yeah.
And
I was a
anyway,
burn victim. Got boiled when I was 11 months old.
really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you know something.
Well, thank God I was only 11 months.
But you
I
know
don't
what?
really remember.
I've heard that my dad, it didn't mess with his mind. I know another guy that it did, and it made him a little crazy. He never got over
Maybe that's
that.
why I'm a little crazy.
Could be. It actually could be. I won't say you're crazy,
I'm a little crazy.
but it could be. And should be a little. All right.
Yeah, that's healthy. Be a
So,
little crazy.
anyway, my dad took me to see fights fairly regularly when I was a teenager. But here's the thing: when I grew up, my dad, we had the Monday night fights, Wednesday night
And the
fights
Friday night.
on Channel 2, KTVU Channel 2 in Oakland. Great station. I hope it's still there. Anyway, I'll give him a rub on that. So anyway,
I watched those Friday night fights with Gillette.
Oh yeah, Gillette,
Yeah.
Gillette razors, yeah.
Uh,
Yes, sir.
yeah.
But anyway,
Friday.
my dad, and this was the only time I got to spend with my dad. I had 2 sisters. He would come home, cook. We've ate, get us set to bed early, the girls, and then we watch boxing.
Was that his passion
Oh,
to view, or
no,
was
he was a
actually
damn good
a
boxer.
pugilist?
He boxed.
He boxed,
In the
okay,
Navy.
in the Navy.
My dad boxed in the Navy
He
too.
boxed
Yeah,
his way
every
up
the Navy
to the ship.
on the ships, he was on an aircraft carrier. Okay, the bottom of the ship is the workshop. The next ship is where the men sleep, and the top is where the deck is. Right. So you got 3 decks. He took all 3 decks. They each had their own boxer. They box it out among themselves. They go up a deck, fight. My dad took the deck. Took the ship, and I was really proud of him. But he never bragged about it.
He never talked
He
either.
didn't talk about it. Just to me, he said, "Yeah, I beat those guys, and I beat them all." And they were. See, my dad had to get a fiery attitude to box,
To fight?
and I kind of didn't like that. It was like, and I know where that came from. His father was from a little old city, Roman city. Before that, it was another city, Phoenician city, called Tria. It's pronounced Tria.
Okay.
Okay, it's as far toward the French border as you can go in the north. Anyway, Tria is an old city, and his grandfather and his uncle, which was Nicholas and Julius, came here to farm. They were farmers, and they knew everything about farming. And they bought land in Kansas.
Different
There was-
kind of land than.
Well, he knew all about it.
Oh, okay.
And he bought coal mines underneath and 800 acres above to grow feed corn for all the other. He grew feed corn for all the other farms to feed their feed. And when I was there in 1978, they still had feed corn. It's Indian corn. It's all that beautiful
Colored corn?
Oh, it's beautiful, but it's hard corn. You couldn't eat it. You did if you boiled it a lot, but anyway. But my uncles wanted to get rich farming. Well, they both died trying. They had big families. My dad's father, Grandpa, hired 26 people, plus 13 in the family. So you're talking about almost 40 people. He had to feed breakfast and lunch, and they were all sent home for dinner. So anyway, they never got rich. They wanted to, and I got given the farm, but I turned it down in 1970.
Oh, wow.
I was in a different frame of mind. Just had become in my 20s.
We grew up in similar time.
Right.
I'm 70,
Yeah.
a couple years behind you.
Right.
But life was different back then.
Oh yeah. We
Couldn't even explain
we
this to
didn't
me.
know the real estate would go through the roof. We didn't know there would be people that would eat you alive for your house.
Yeah.
We didn't know any of that. Is this Sonia?
Yes, Sonia.
Did your father's interest in boxing pull you into it?
Yes, I was a boxer, but you know what? See, my dad.
This is Mike.
Okay, it's like this.
This is Josh.
To me, to be a good boxer, you have to have an angry streak. And he had an angry streak. It was against his father and his uncle.
Oh.
Here's why. In Germany, now some Germans are going to write me and say that's not true, but I know it's true. Okay, the Germans, when they come to this country, they want to get rich farming. Each son has to work separately so that you make more profit.
Yeah.
So you don't get to work together. And he had 12 sons. So none of them were allowed to work together. He ran a train, a tipple, and an underground car by himself, and a coal mine
Wow.
by himself. And he got electrocuted. But he got electrocuted in the back of the neck, and the weight of his body made him fall forward, and he lived. Otherwise, I would have never been born.
Wow.
And that was because he worked by himself. Had that happened, they could have pulled him away, knocked him off away from the electricity.
Yeah.
But he told me he was angry. He did not like his father because his father gave us no time. There's too many children, There's too many workers, and there's money to be made.
Yeah, that's kind of old school.
It is old school,
Yeah.
and it's not bad. It's just the way they did it.
Absolutely.
But my dad did not like it. And when I said, "How'd you like Grandpa?" He said, "I didn't even know the man." He started getting mad. I said, "Okay, Pops, I'll
yeah,
talk." You
it
know.
was a touchy
So
point.
yeah, so he was my dad was a welder, hard worker. We built a house, we fixed another one. He owned apartments in San Francisco. I worked with him every weekend. San Francisco was beautiful to live up until about 1990. But San Francisco has always been a transient. People don't understand San Francisco. That corner of the world, listen to this, is the city of light. The sun shines differently in San Francisco than it does anywhere on earth. Now you can go to a bookstore and find The Last Bohemian.
Okay.
It's about San Francisco and the light that shines in San Francisco. It draws the lost people all over the world.
Wow.
It always has. And before, it's a Masonic city, by the way. It's all
design?
all the buildings, all the streets are all Masonic. Yeah, the whole Bay Area is Masonic, but nobody knows it.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I know the whole history. So anyway, it's a special place on earth, and a lot of it's been buried by city.
From
Now,
the earthquake?
what's that?
From the earthquake
Well,
in 06?
no, it's been buried over for other reasons and the earthquake. But I will say this. If you look at the emblem of California, it shows a black Indian woman named Khalifa. We knew this, oh shit.
We're gonna close it out with this, Dad.
Okay.
We're closing out.
Great stuff.
I'm gonna
California
grab this bottle.
was inhabited by a tribe of black Indians, where the
They-
female
they were
ruled.
around.
No, where the female ruled. Now they cut that out of history, but they do keep the emblem. And if you ask them why, they're gonna say, "Well, I don't know," but they know.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's it for today, guys. He says we're done.
Give me a hug,
So-
Dad.
Well, you know,
Have a
I don't know
drink.
whether we're still filming, but
We
I just
are.
wanted to say this is an amazing opportunity that most people don't
Yeah.
utilize.
Yeah. Right.
You're showing yourself and your love for your family and the life that you had and all that.
And the tequila.
Well,
Well, oh, you know what? Tequila's good for what I have, so I drink a little of it. And I can't drink much.
okay.
It's better than a wine. It's better than a whiskey.
I'm not a big tequila
Yes.
drinker, but I'll have a couple.
I love tequila. You know why? It's good for me. To the family in Texas, it's me, Joseph. You haven't seen me now for 8 years. And I was doing really well, 74 years old. But recently, I developed a form of cancer that's growing, and it is fatal. So we're living with that. And we're having a good time today, reviewing my life, some of the things that have happened to me, growing up in San Francisco, moving to Oakland, going to high school in Oakland, boxing, some good things for us. So I want to say hello to everybody. I love you all. I know that Jennifer really loved her family deeply. And all I can tell you is, for me, time's running out. So I'm not going to hold you, but I loved you all. I loved meeting your family in Texas, that little town of Anona. I don't know how you guys grew up there. Like Cynthia said, I said, "What's she to do in Anona?" She said, "Get in trouble," because it's too small of a town. But you all came out good. I'm happy for you. Thank you for being for me and Jennifer when we needed you. And I would like someone to go to the graveyard and send me a picture of the gravestone that I put there on top of her that says, "I married." I loved. I loved the green-eyed Jennifer. Kiss that. So, adios, my friends. That's it.